plan is to turn this beaten up, run down, falling apart rust bucket of a mountain bike into a ski bike. So you can see the chain red with rust. I don't even think it would work as a chain. I don't know. It's just it's a mess. I'm sure I could restore it as a bike, but I've got other plans for it. So the next step is to strip off everything that I don't need on a ski bike. Cycle whatever good parts I can get off of it. I already have plans to use the kickstand on another bike. We'll see what we can do with the rest of it. So I finished stripping down the frame. I took off everything I don't need for a ski bike. Now the next step is I'm going to clean up the frame. I might even paint it some neon bright colors. And then have to prepare the skis that I'm going to mount this to, and also the mounts, which I've got an idea for that too. Here are all the parts I took off the mountain bike. You can see the cranks and the shifters, the brakes, all the cables, of course, and the cable housings, and the most prominent thing, the basket. Some of this stuff I will use on another bike, so it'll have a second life, but some of it is just trash. They're so worn or in bad shape that they're not worth trying to reuse. I have everything I need to finish my ski bike. I got a frame, I got some skis that I'm going to cut down, I got some grips for the handlebar, and I have some skateboard trucks. Yep, you heard it right, skateboard trucks. This is what I'm going to use. Mount the frame to the skis. Well, it's done. My snow bike. It looks like a regular Frankenstein's monster, but I think it's gonna work. I got the skis attached using skateboard trucks. Had to elevate the back end a little bit because the frame is diamond shaped, and so the bottom bracket would have dragged on the ground without some elevation. Made it out of wood, looks ugly, but I think it's working. So let's give it a try. I tried it out and it's fun. It's not as easy as I thought it would be. The first run down my little slope here, I ended up doing a header. Head first into the snow. That was before I had such a nice ski slope. The snow is very wet today because it's actually quite warm. It's probably 2-3 degrees above zero and 2 to 3 degrees above freezing. So it's beginning to melt. All that powder we had on Tuesday and Wednesday is now wet, heavy snow. And so the first time down, front ski dug into the snow, back ski did not, and I went head over heels, right over the handlebars. Now that I've used my ski bike a couple of times, there's a few improvements I want to make. So the improvements I want to make are, one, front end's too low, so I'll make another, probably a wood shoe like in the back to prop up the front a bit, and then I can raise the seat a little bit. It's just that you're leaning too far forward, and with the seat at its lowest, this is really a kid's setting, which if I were a kid would be okay. The other thing is I want to tighten up the skateboard trucks a bit. They've got a little bit too much play in them. And this is not something that just occurred to me now, but something definitely needs to address is I need to put some place to put my feet. I haven't thought of a good idea yet, but something will come to me. Otherwise, I have to say, this is a pretty fun machine. I'm going to make some improvements that I noticed needed to be done. So one of them is I'm going to put a platform for my feet. What I've done here is I've kind of made some makeshift pedals. They're not really pedals because they're not meant to turn. They will a little bit. I used a block of wood and some metal brackets and bolts. And this is the original bolt from the crank shaft. So I couldn't use a regular pedal, which would have been really convenient because the threading on the pedal is much coarser and larger than the threading on the crank. So I managed to use the original bolt, and I'm going to bolt this right directly into the crank here, so that basically I have a pedal that doesn't crank, or a pedal that doesn't pedal. But it should be good enough as a platform for my feet. We'll see how it goes. And the other thing I'm going to do is raise up the front, and just like I did in the back, I'm going to use these metal strips and these wood, well, I call them shoes, to raise up the front. So just like in the back, mount to metal brackets, and those brackets will be mounted to the ski. So it's time to get to it. So I got the new holes drilled in the ski for this is the front ski. As I mentioned, one of the improvements I wanted to make was to add a little elevation to the front end. So I made a bigger shoe mount, and it looks like the holes line up perfectly. So the next thing to do is I need to do as I did on the old holes and make the back end a little bit larger so that the screw heads can sink flush to the bottom of the ski, so it just slides better. And the other thing is I need to do is, since the holes in the steel is just a little bit too small, I need to drill them out a little bit and then drill the holes on top of here so I can put the skateboard truck on top, and then we'll be all done with the modification, and we'll be ready to put it back on the ski bike and try it out. As you can see, the old holes, this screw fits pretty much flush with the bottom of the ski. So it's all done. It's not pretty. Got some leftover holes from the first time I attempted to put the bracket on the ski trucks directly onto the ski. And my bolts are too long. I kind of overestimated how thick the ski and the steel plates were when I was buying the hardware. And of course, because the wood's hand cut, they're not exactly the same size, but I can live with that. But I think it's going to work. It seems to be pretty sturdy now. I don't think it's going to fall apart when I ride it. So next step is to put this on the bike, the ski bike, and give it a shot. Okay, I'm back in the garage now, and I'm ready to put the front ski back on. Should be an easy task, just like putting the wheel back on a bike. So let's see what happens. Voila! Ta-da! Here we go. Now, ready to give it a try. Unfortunately, the weather is not accommodating. It's raining now, so expect some clear skies tomorrow, so we'll give it a try tomorrow. To be honest, I'm not quite sure if these pedals, but these foot platforms are going to be strong enough. If not, I got another idea. We're going to give that a try if this doesn't work. All right, here we go. Woo-hoo! Yeah. All right, this time I'm going to try and use the platforms. Try again. All right, here we go. That's harder than it looks. It doesn't go where I want it to go. But it's fun, and we'll get better at it. Got my little hill here, and we'll just keep practicing here till we're ready for the big time. Ooh. All right, a new day, a new challenge. I've graduated from my little baby hill to a slightly bigger baby hill. I'm ready to give it a try. Just a small setback. The back ski came off the hanger, so got a wrench. I'm gonna put it back on and give it another try. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Oh, a little bit slippery. That was awesome, but not fast enough, and the snow is really heavy, so if I leave my little track there, this snow bike, I gotta think of a good name for her, gets bogged down in the snow and doesn't move very quick. But it's still a lot of fun. It's kind of like sledding on this little hill. You go a little bit further each time, or sometimes you don't, but it's still been a lot of fun. And I think it's time to start thinking about improvements. One thing I must say is once I tightened up the trucks on the nut on the skateboard truck, it steers a lot better. And having a place, even if it's not very good, to put your feet helps as well. One thing that needs to be improved, my foot platforms, they're just not holding up to the weight of a grown adult. So it's time for a plan B, or perhaps even a plan C. I fixed this back ski mount a little bit, tightened it up, found out that I had put this nut on too far and it was off the threads. It took me a while to work it back onto the threads and put a washer in there. And the biggest change here is my makeshift footrest It's not great, but I think it's better than what I had before. Those were pretty bent out of shape. We're gonna give this a try. I would call this plan B, but already we gotta start working on plan C, something more permanent. Let it rip. Not very fast. I think I need a better hill. But I'm learning a little bit more control. This makeshift platform, while not great, works better than what I had before. Let's get another run. All right, here we go. Yeah. I'm slowly getting the hang of it. Yeah, this really heavy wet snow is a bit hard to deal with. Powder would probably have been better, but it's way past the powder season. So I think I need a bigger hill to overcome the wet snow. So let's go in search of a bigger hill. All right, I found a new spot to try out my skills. It's a bigger hill. It's got a lot more steep to it and a lot more speed, enough to overcome the wet snow. So I'm ready to give it another run. Yeah, that's it. I think I'm getting the hang of it. Phew. Yeah.